All right. Hello, hello. Sorry about that. I had a little technical issue. I think when Izzy, my daughter, was in the office yesterday, she unplugged the power adapter for my camera. So it was like it wouldn't turn on, and I was like messing with it for 5 minutes, and then I realized it's unplugged. So fixed that, and now we're streaming. So sorry again for the delay there. Cool. Let me know you can see me and hear me okay based on some of that audio video mix up there. I just want to make sure everything's coming across good. So just hit me up in the chat. Let me know. Otherwise, we're going to jump in here. So a little recap from yesterday. A couple small things. Sunny, who comes and joins the live streams often but hasn't been on today or yesterday, basically he was giving me some insight into the file systems. So let's go take a look at those actually, and I'll just kind of show you. So yesterday I was kind of griping that, hey, I wish Laravel just created those symlinks for you when you set these up. And they do. You just have to register them in a separate spot. So basically, if I would have gone down here and said something like, storage and then photos, this would have done what I wanted it to do. So I basically just needed to register it here if I wanted to do that. But in conversation again with Sunny over Twitter, basically he was also saying that I need to think about the fact that if I make those symlinked, technically speaking, anyone could pop up in the browser and plug in event photos, and if they knew the whatever it was here, they would be able to see this particular PNG. I don't have a whole lot of control over that once I kind of create that symlink. So basically, what I did was I kind of dropped the symlink part of photos, and it's really just going to be a local driver. And if we go look at something like the photo controller, I don't know why that's break pointed, but I basically went into show and basically just pull that file from disk now. So that solved, or well, didn't solve, but that's a little bit of rework I did last night after that discussion. The other bit of rework was I added MIME type to the photo, which actually I noticed the tests were failing, so I need to fix that. So let's go to the photo factory, and we need to add some additional things here that we've been adding. So we need to add MIME type to this. Do they have a MIME? They do. Awesome. There's a MIME type. Oh, I wonder if there's like an image MIME type. No. I wonder if this can lock down to any certain type of MIME type. Random MIME types. Here we go. Oh wow, there's a bunch. This probably should be a little cleaner to give me an accurate thing here. So you know what? Let's just copy a couple of these, and instead of MIME type, we'll do random element. And we'll just plug in a couple of these. Whoa, not that many. So let's do GIF, let's do a JPEG, and I like the old school JPG and PNG, and I think those are enough to demonstrate the path here. So let's fix that. And let's inline these. There we go. That should fix that. Okay, so MIME type, and then not path, but I think we added visibility, and this is actually going to be the same thing. Let's just make that a random element of, we had everyone, and then owner. I really need to make some constants for these, but again, I'll refactor those later. And then, or well, it wasn't owner, sorry, it was coordinator for the event coordinator, or the owner of the event, that is. And then the owner of the, as in the person who uploaded it, the attendee, effectively. So that should fix that. What else did I change? I don't think long run, like when this gets on S3, I'll do this. I'll be able to stream it directly from S3, but it just won't have a publicly accessible URL. So it'll really just stream from S3 straight through to the browser. So so that'll get fixed. But right now, this is just a little local photo store. The final thing was the photos path. I actually updated this to store it using the event ID. And so that created kind of my subdirectory, which was another little annoyance yesterday. It was like all the photos were getting dumped in photos. So I fixed that by properly passing the path here. I think before I was just saying photos, which is why I was getting that event photos. I was treating that like the disk, and the disk is actually an option when you're using this kind of chained store method. If I was using the storage facade, then of course I would pass disk, kind of prefix the chain with that, or prepinned the chain, I suppose. So that's everything. Again, just adding the MIME type, setting reviewed false for now, and this is all working. So if we do PHP artisan serve, we should be able to click in and again just see this file directly. Yeah, so all that's working just in a very kind of old school way. So if I go and create a photo, we choose a photo, and let's just go to like some other GIF here. Trying to find something that's new so we don't get it confused. Here we go. Here's an old JPEG logo from, I think, Taylor's Table, and then we'll just say just JSON internationally. Saves. Uh-oh. I broke something now. Event ID. Oh, did I kill the database? It doesn't seem to like. What was it saying? Line 31? Oh, attendee is. I've gotten logged out. That was kind of a stale page. Let's go back to login because we'll need to do that anyway. I'm surprised it didn't redirect me. That's actually something we're going to work on today. This is all just password. So let's go to password. Yes, I know that's an insecure password. Let's go back to event create. Let's just, again, prove that this is working the way we want. So let's go down to that old school JPEG and just us. Save. Oh my gosh. Redirector with does not exist. What did I break now? Oh, I think I refactored something yesterday, trying to be a little fancy. Redirect response with. That's interesting. It's auto-completing in the IDE, but it actually is claiming that it routing redirector with does not exist. Oh, I think route's not on the other one at the end is the problem. I wonder if with works here. Let's try this one more time. I do think this shows up now if I just go back to the page. So yeah, it is showing up that JPEG. There it is, little brand for Taylor's Table back in the day. Let's just do this one more time and see if that redirect works the way I thought. It doesn't really matter. Let's just do out PNG, only me. Yeah, okay. So the with needs to be on the end. I think route cannot be changed after with. So it's just a little gotcha there. It's kind of interesting. So let's commit all this up. Actually, one last thing. Git add -p. We need to make sure the tests are running. Vendor bin PHP unit. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, file not found. It's not going to be able to list all these out, all this new file manipulation that we've done. But I think this is a start, so I'm just going to say something like git commit -m whip fixing or fix failing tests. There's more to do here. I'm not going to worry too much about those now. And then actually, one more thing I want to do, and let's talk about this. I'm actually going to get rid of Livewire for the time being. It's definitely something I want to use, and I do think it'll make life easier, but for the purposes of this stream and for the purposes of trying to get this done quickly, my Yagni mindset has kicked back in, and is pulling me away from trying to learn Livewire and how to do multiple form uploads and components. And can I just do one piece of the page, and how does that work, or do I need to do the whole form, and like all these questions that are starting to pop up because it's my first time using Livewire. So definitely want to use it. I definitely think it's the right tool for the job, for the kind of UI UX that I want. But it would probably take me a few weeks to kind of learn it and get that right. And I don't really want to muddle through that on the stream. Again, I want to have something, ideally I wanted to have something I could show Ashley, when we went on vacation the other week. But I think having something I can show her for Christmas is also kind of fun too. And I think that is achievable if I don't kind of go down the rabbit hole of every kind of developer tendency, which is to, find the new shiny and try to use it on my next project, right? Not that Livewire is necessarily the new shiny anymore, but something that, I don't have to use it right now. There are definitely other features I can build and need to build for this to be functional enough to show someone. So that's what I want to go back to focusing on. I think when you have a deadline, it really it forces you to make those decisions, even if it's an artificial deadline. Like this is totally just, a fun little side project I just want to show Ashley, but I also don't want to spend like 3 months on it, because then that kind of defeats the purpose of telling her I could build it. Like, I kind of want to demonstrate that, hey, she knows we just talked about this a few weeks ago, and now here's this thing. So like, I think that's a lot cooler than being like, oh, look, you can drag and drop multiple photos and like it refreshes the page automatically, like the stuff Livewire would give me. So while that's cool as a developer, it doesn't really matter to the end user at the moment. It doesn't matter for the prototype. So to be able to make those hard choices, I think, is definitely something that can level you up as a developer, especially a product developer. That's not to say that you shouldn't use those tools, or ultimately I don't want to get there. It just means that you need to be able to prioritize delivery over, new shiny. So hopefully some of that makes sense and helps, maybe helps you make decisions in your own projects. So we're gonna also force push this because I rebased that out. So let's go back and make sure that looks correct. So I already added Livewire last night and kind of quit on that, as we just talked about. So we're gonna abandon Livewire, which is gone now, and I've made an effort to start fixing the failing tests. But because of the form uploads and paths, those are not gonna work as expected until I kind of fix up that faker data. So I think what we need to work on to make this a little bit more robust, aside from, of course, like not being able to actually click on, certain links, like this isn't that pretty and I'm having to hack the URL and stuff. Those are pretty easy fixes. I'm not too worried about those during the live stream. What I am worried about is the whole goal of this would be able to, create some kind of link that, of course, Ashley can log in, but then I want to be able to share a photo. I don't want to log in as me. I don't have access to her event. I need to be able to log in as like an attendee and, have that, and then be able to upload a photo, to this album that, this Christmas album maybe that she makes, right? That's kind of the goal. So there's 3 pieces to kind of make that happen. And let's just kind of mark these up in like a scratch pad or something. So let's just go to some scratch pad. I don't know what's in here. Here we go. All right, cool. So I think what we need in here, let's just kind of hack out a little to-do here. So first of all, we probably need, I'm not going to call it a QR code, but we basically need a unique code to reference an event. And basically when this, and it's not even a unique code, it's more of like a unique URL. When you use this unique URL, it's going to take you to a place where you kind of get a more or less special login. And this is an ability to kind of log in as an attendee. So it's basically just saying your name, and so long as your name is on the guest list for that event, then you have access. So to that point, we would need to sign in as attendee, and then finally, kind of buried in all that, and actually probably the most important thing is adding attendees via a guest list for event, or event guest list. Okay, so this is probably where we need to start. So let's actually reorder these, and we'll try to hack through as many of these as we can today. Oh, it's actually helping me out. That's kind of nice. Oh, that's cool. It actually reordered all those. That's nice, PHP Storm. Thank you. Okay, so we have adding attendees via guest list. That's probably the most important thing we need to do right now. And then there's going to be a unique URL that's going to get assigned to an event when you create one. So that's just a column on the database. We can just throw a UUID in there on save, like it's probably nothing the user ever messes with. And then the biggest piece, which I think is going to spill into tomorrow, will be signing in as an attendee. That's going to require probably some, not only a screen, but then some special middleware to kind of juggle when you're on certain screens, like adding a photo or whatever. You can be an authorized user, as like traditionally speaking, you can be, you know, authed as a user, or you could be authed as an attendee that's maybe, you know, puts a little ID in your session or something. So that's going to need some special middleware to kind of juggle that. Not necessarily hard, but I don't know if we'll get that far today. So again, let's start here with this guest list thing, because this is kind of like a logical bit of the application. And what I probably want to do is let's take a look at our controllers. I don't know, because this is kind of logical and not necessarily like exactly a CRUD piece, I don't think we probably built it with Blueprint, but let's see if there's an area where we can kind of tack this on. So we do have event update, which it's not really, event update would be like if you're changing the name of the event or the date or those kind of things. And again, all that needs to be built, but it's not essential to the prototype. Let's look at attendee. Attendee just has show, edit, and update. And I would consider this for an individual attendee. So kind of what we need is a special controller, that probably just takes a text area of data, a guest list, you know, broken down line by line, and it parses those out and makes attendees based on each line, provided, you know, they pass some very generic validation, right? Doesn't really matter. I mean, if you want to call somebody Joe Bob, like, you know, that's fine. I mean, we could probably obviously check it that it doesn't have any like weird syntactic characters, but beyond that, like, you know, nothing fancy about it. So anytime I say something like special controller, that actually to me feels like an invocable controller. So let's make one of those. So PHP artisan make controller -- invocable, and then let's call this like, I like to make my invocable controllers like action names, like verbs. Instead of using like the controller, like the traditional controller suffix, I like to make them more action oriented. And this allows me to just kind of spot, like really at a high level, like just scrolling, you know, this controllers folder, like that those are invocable. So we could do something here like register guest list, maybe? Register guests? Yeah. Register attendees if we wanted to keep the, like the nomenclature for attendees. So yeah, I think the system visually calls it, but I think register attendees is probably a little more in line with the domain within the application. Like a guest list is what it's going to look like in the UI, but that's not necessarily like propagated down into the code. And I may change that later. I think you really want those to be in line with each other. But anyway, the point is I don't say controller on the end of this. This is invocable, so there it is. And we will probably want to bring in the event here, so we're going to set this up in our routes. So let's go to, not web config, Let's go to routes, and let's look at how we might want to write this here. So we'll say route, and what do we want to call this? This is just going to be, you actually need, it's a little bit ugly. This is one of the reasons I actually don't like invocable controllers. I need two forms. I need like get and post, which is kind of annoying. I'm just thinking, what is get? Can get just be a view? Can I just go straight to a view? It's gonna need the event. I mean, it could be a closure. It's a little ugly. Let's focus on the one we have here. So this will be a post, and we'll post it to event. I guess event, not that. And then probably something like guests, maybe something like that. That's probably fine enough, I think. So we'll say app, app, HTTP, controllers, where are you? Register attendee, class. I don't know how that auto-completed so quick. Let's give this a name. Register attendees. Register attendees. There we go. Okay, so we're definitely going to post to that. That makes sense. But again, we're going to need the get to show the form. So we could just say something like get event guest, or well, let's stop calling it guest. Let's adopt this attendees bit. And this will actually be a function. And let's type hint app models event here, event, and we'll pass in, or we'll return a view with, this will just be attendees dot register. That's fine enough for me. And then obviously we need to pass in event. I'm wondering, there is a shorthand for route view, and I'm wondering if it has, I'm wondering if you can pass data. It does have data. So I'm kind of wondering, can I collapse this to be this? And would Laravel, see, Laravel's not going to know what that is. I really wonder if part of me like wants to believe that Laravel's smart enough to pass in any properties, like, not properties, parameters for the route. So let's sit on that just for a minute. We're gonna take a peek at that here in just a second. PHP artisan route list. Grep register. All right, so we have register event attendees. All right, cool. So there's a post, there's a get. Where's our, oh, we don't have a name for the other one. Let's fix that. We don't have a name for this particular one. We're gonna want one. So let's say name is register attendees dot create. Let's just make these pseudo facade, or not facade, pseudo resource controllers. Let's run this again. There we go. So we got register attendees store and register attendee create. And that's really what we're doing. And again, this is starting to lend more towards a CRUD controller anyway, so we may end up breaking that out. But I'm just kind of curious if this ends up working. So let's mess with this for a second. PHP artisan serve. I guess, of course, we're going to need to go down to our resources, views, attendee. Oh, my naming is way off today. Attendee register. There we go. And let's just borrow show for now. Call this register. And we'll just say attendee register template. That should be good enough for now. Dashboard. All right. Let's go back here. So we have event, Disler McCreary wedding, and now this is going to be like attendees. Okay, so attendee register template. So a couple things. One, looking at this URL now, that seems a little off. I wonder if I could make that something a bit cleaner. It feels ugly to me. I'll think on that later. Let's come back. Let's do two things. First of all, register. Let's just make this a little more dynamic for the moment. So register attendees for, and let's pass. We already have the event name. So if we refresh this, we definitely have Ashley and Jason's wedding. Awesome. So what I'm curious about, real quick, going back to this, let me comment out that for a second. Let's bring this to life. And I'm just kind of curious if somehow attendee register, somehow if it gets event. Just curious. It does not. Undefined variable event. I'm wondering, let's just hack at this for 2 seconds. Let's say something like event and just don't pass anything else in there. Nope. Let's try something like, I mean, event's going to be undefined here, so like, I don't know, can you do something really weird like that? Trying to get property name of non-object, yeah, so it's passing in the string, of course. All right, that's something I'll look into later, but it would be cool if this were automatic. Like if you have a model binding in there, it automatically took that name and passed it into a view. I think that's kind of a cool feature, especially like if data was empty. I think there's some conditions where this could work for you. If data did not have an overlapping name for that Laravel would go ahead and set it for you, right? Like if I have an event, then it overwrites it. But if I didn't have anything here, like Laravel it goes ahead and takes that parameter, hydrates it, and passes it down to the view. That would be pretty cool, because then it would save me from writing this. And I would feel a lot better about registering this route and having an invocable controller. So I think that's pretty cool. I might look into a PR for that in the next few weeks. We'll see. Maybe a future stream. I'm hearing some chat. Hey Robin, how's it going? Samuel, what's up? Okay, so route view welcome name Taylor. Yeah, event. Yeah, exactly. Event's a bit dynamic in this case, Bernard. So it would be cool if it did. As far as I know, model binding doesn't work with view. Yeah. I don't think it would take much work to make it work, so that would be cool. Okay, let's get back to where we were. Okay, so we do have event now, of course. So let's get this form. Just working like super fast. So we'll just say something like form method equals post, of course, post. Action is going to be the route, and this is going to be called register attendees. Comments are in the way. I'm moving the comments. Attendees dot store. Close out the form. Let's just put a big ass text area here. So we'll just say something like rows 10 calls 100. There's our text area. Cool. And again, I'll make this Tailwind UI maybe later tonight. But for now, the text area should work here. What's wrong with my text area? Missing associated label. Okay, that's fine. Let's just say label guest lists for attendees, and let's give this ID and of course a name. Cool. All right, so super ugly, but, oh, register attendees store. Oh, of course. We need to pass in the event. All right, there we go. There's our guest list. Really nasty, but let's just, again, we're just hacking through it today based on our list. We're gonna get as far as we can in the next probably 20 minutes. So let's just for now do a DD on request all. And of course, we are gonna need to go back here. Let's close some of these things. This is getting a little ridiculous. Close it up. Register, there it is. So let's bring in an @CSRF token. There's our label for attendees. So now if we go back to the form, we refresh to get the latest code, and we just say something like Jason McCreary, Ashley Disler, and oh, we need to be able to submit the form, don't we? Button, submit. Oh my God, submit. Thank you. All right, let's copy that so I don't have to type it all again. Boom. All right, there we go. App HTTP controllers event does not exist. Okay, didn't type it something the right way. Let's go check it out. Oh, I want my scratch pad back. Scratch, give me that. And let's open the register controller. Looks like oh wait, register attendees controller. There's my problem. All right. All right, there we go. So we got our token, and we have a super quoted attendees list there. That's funny that it's kind of double, triple quoted there. So, okay, so let's just hack this up real quick and build some attendees. And definitely after the prototype of this, I'll probably do a live stream where I run the test generator again, and we kind of drive out the tests for everything that we've written. So for today, though, again, we're just kind of hacking. We're spiking. All this is a really big spike. This is not going to be the final product, and that's how I justify it in my head. So let's do this. Let's take, let's create some attendees by simply preg splitting this on any kind of /r of request input attendees. And that's going to give us a bunch of attendees, and then basically we would for each, it's pretty nasty, but we're just going to for each the attendees as attendee, and we're effectively going to call create on this. So this could be a pretty big thing. I could definitely see this being some kind of background job once everything was validated. But again, right now it's just a few. Let's just kind of get this working here. So attendee, did I import the wrong attendee? There it is, create. And let's create this with, I think all we need for an attendee is a name. Attendees table, there it is. What do we have here? Yeah, it's just a name. There's really nothing fancy about this at all. Attendee. So that's kind of all I want to see right now. And then basically we would return redirect to route, and this would basically just go back to the event show for that event page, I think. Probably with a flash message, so we could say something like with attendees, I cannot spell this today, attendees registered, and we'll say something like count attendees. How about that? That sounds fun. Let's go back to that page, show.blade attendees. Oh, I don't have that. That's strange. I thought I had an attendee. I don't have the event show. Well, let's make it, shall we? Not that. What did I just do here? Unquote it. There we go. It's funny when individual lines are quoted, it like quotes the whole thing, but then you can unquote everything. It's interesting. So let's just do something here like if session has what do we call that? Attendees registered. Oh my gosh, I spelled it right that time. If it has attendees registered, and if registered, oh yeah, we could do like we could do an str plural here, and we could say attendee, and we'll make this the count from that. Is that right? Is it the plural? I think it's the plural. I hate how you can't get that in a view. I mean, you can if you import it, but it's just eh. All right, anyway. Is it plural or like pluralize? I always forget. Let's just refresh. We should get registered attendee. Okay. So it should have done 2. We can go check the database and see that. So let's do PHP artisan tinker. And let's do attendee all. It did it. It got us. I don't see any line breaks or anything weird in there. What I do wonder about though is why. I don't think plural is the right thing. Let's get that right real quick. String helpers Laravel. Where are you? I think it's like pluralize or something, or like. No, what is that called? Oh yeah, here you go. You may provide an integer as a second argument to the function to retrieve singular or plural form. Yeah, that should have done what I wanted. Why didn't you do what I want? Oh, it's session has. Whoops. Session get. There we go. There's our issue. I knew it was something simple. All right, let's see this one more time. Go back to the dashboard. Where were we? So event attendees, attendees. There we go. And let's just do more people here. Joe and Bob. There we go. Registered attendees. Yay! All right, cool. I guess it should say 2 in front of it, but I'm not super worried about that message right now. Okay, so a couple things that I realized in doing this, and I'm just going to leave a little note for the future. To do validate for, I guess like, you know, any kind of like scripting or like excess, what is that called? Cross-site scripting attacks, or what do they call that? Like cross-site injection. I always forget what they call that. But anyway, improper input. And then we need to dedupe effectively. Like if we find the same name for that event, like that would be good too. So these are some things that can happen as part of the validation. So let's just put this up here. So dedupe. So we need to basically handle that plus empty form. So that would all kind of redirect you back. So that's all part of the validation that should occur on that page. But for the moment, we are adding attendees, and they are not being added to the event. That is something else that needs to happen. That's interesting. I'm pretty sure we do have a bridge or a has-many relationship between those. So we need to actually be fixing that as well. So let's kind of take a look at this. Let's go back to this. We'll probably just finish on this today. I can do the code thing offline for the, that's pretty simple. It's just a column in the database. Oh, I've done that twice now. Register attendees, here we go. So we also would need to assign them to the event. So we would need to say something. We have the event. I think we could do something like event, it's like associate or something. That. I think we could do something like that. Or we could even do something like attendees create. I think you can do. I'm not sure if that's on. Do we have attendees on here? No, we don't. I thought we made a bridge table though. Or I thought Blueprint generated us a bridge table. Yeah, attendee event table, but there's no relationship between these. So we probably want to add that first of all. So let's do something like, I think it's on attendees, but it's not on event. Let's go look at this. Oh, I'm in the wrong spot. Duh. So models, attendee. Yeah, belongs to many, yeah. So we just need this kind of in reverse. So we can just say something like has many attendees. There we go. And this would be called attendees. And that's going to give us the relationships, which should build the appropriate relationship in the database. So let's also do this just for giggles, and then we'll stop. So let's do something here. This is pretty ugly, but I'm just going to do something here like for each the event attendees as attendee, and let's just put their name out here. So end for each. Let's put a little UL tag here. It's unordered. No one's first necessarily, and we'll just say, oops. We'll say attendee name. Cool. All right. Let's see if this works. I'm gonna restart the server just to be super sure. Oops. We've got a little issue. What did I break here? Oh, I must have added an additional one there. Let's try that again. All right, so let's go back to our dashboard. Let's register more attendees. Oh, attendees. And we technically need to register everyone kind of all over again. So let's just say like Jason, Ashley, Joe, and Bob. Okay. Table attendees has no column event ID. I think, has many wrong? I think has many's right, but I think on like a many of many relationship like that, you can't create it through the relationship. I think you have to like assign it. Let's go take a look. Laravel has many. I heard something in the chat. Let's see if you all know. Let's see here. Definitely a good feature. Do we also need to handle existing? Yeah, we do. Yeah, first or create would definitely be a good option there. We could kind of make that work and restrict it on name. We have kind of like, it's not a one to many. It's more of like a many to many. One to many, yeah. So post belongs to that, but like your comments belong to something else. Yeah, has many. The has many should be correct. I just don't think you can save it that way. I think there's like an assign. Many to many relationships. Here we go. Many to many relationships is slightly more complicated than has one and has many. Table structure, yes, yes, yes. You can assign, there we go. Model structure belongs to many. What's the inverse though of that? Isn't it has many still? I guess not. Defining the inverse of the relationship belongs to many. That's weird. It still just belongs to many. That's not what I expected. You can see how often I write these more complex relationships. It's not very often. Belongs to many. I would have expected that to say something else, but I mean, I guess I get it. Okay, so now that we've fixed that, let's try to refresh this. There we go. There we go. That's all we needed. Just the wrong relationships. Helps to read the docs. All right. What else do we have? You have to use both ways. Yeah. I don't know. In my mind, it seemed like there should have been an inverse for some reason, but that's okay. I don't want to customize a pivot. I think we did it right. So, okay. Let's kind of slow down and see where we are. And let's call it, I think let's call it quits for the day. Yeah. So get add dash P. Let's kind of review what we've done here. Okay, so we've added their inverse relationship, which is not even an inverse, it's just the same relationship going the other way. I mean, I guess that kind of makes sense, but I don't know why in my head, like, thought it was different. We just made a really simple event show, so I'm gonna clean that up probably off stream, because that is something that we'd want to see. And then we have this bit here, but I kind of want to delete this route view comment. That's dead code in my mind. So I'm going to say yes, but we're going to go delete that. Okay, so we definitely have that done. I will go ahead and at least add this unique URL real fast to the database. But first things first, let's get in routes web and kill that. All right, get add dash P. So we should kill that. And then finally, what's left here? Okay, these are our new things. So let's just go ahead and get add dot on those. Notice that I did get add dash P first before get add dot. I just wanted to make sure the stuff I'd changed was good. You can do get add dash capital N to actually touch those files and put them in the staged area. And then I could have done get add dash P. Just two different ways to accomplish the same thing. So let's do get commit dash M. So let's just say something like add attendees to event. Let's push that on up. All right. And then the last thing we'll do here is let's get into the database, and in events, when an event is created, we will automatically do a table UUID. Now, is this just a straight column? Yeah, it doesn't do anything primary or anything crazy like that. So we can just make a UUID column, and I don't think we need to, it's not going to give us like any kind of indexes or anything like that. I'm just going to call this code. We could do something like a SHA-1 or something, but I feel like the UUID is good enough for now. And all this is really going to do is be, you know, one of these, like, this is just a special code you can share with somebody. It makes it unique. And then it also ultimately just going to redirect you to the page. But using the code is what's going to allow you the flexibility to sign in as a guest. You can't just go to the site and sign in as a guest. That's going to be just a really, really thin layer of security this code provides. So you could kind of consider it like a signed URL for the event, if you will. It's just one we don't have to like, it's one we don't have to like continue to re-sign, right? Because like, no, I think a signed URL stays forever. There's no data in the signed URL. So there's kind of like nothing to sign it with other than the signature of the app. Sorry, I'm just thinking this through for a second. Do we even need a code, or could I just sign the event URL with the slug? And that's what the signed URL is, what kind of would be shared or in a QR code or whatever. I'm just wondering, do I even need this? I kind of don't think that I do. Let's play around with that for a second and tinker. PHP artisan tinker. Let's get an event find one. Let's go. Oh, this is why I don't like calling things event. We might have to change that. It overlaps with like the facade. Okay, so Casey Betty is the event. That's a weird name. Okay, and so basically if I do like URL or URL facade, let's go look at these. I think you can do like a, let's check this, because I may not even have to do anything here. Signed URLs, here we go. So signed URL, ID, go for an expiry signed URL. I'd go, oh, okay. All right, so the route would be like event. What would the route be? Let's just make it event show for now, and it would be the event. So it gives you the name of the event with a signature on the end, which would prevent you from being able to tamper with this. Without the signature, you can't go to that directly. But to the point in the comments, it kind of never expires, but neither would the code, in fairness. And you wouldn't be able to mess with this URL, so you couldn't just come up with it on your own, and you couldn't come up with the signature. I think they both provide an equal amount of security, and again, that is a thin layer of security, but what are you hacking here? Like, you're not really hacking billing information, you're hacking the ability to see or upload photos that aren't even approved and, you know, don't go out into the public necessarily. So, I mean, it's secure enough in my mind. The point is, though, I don't think I need to add a code to the database. I think I'm just going to start with signed URLs, because I could just sign the route. It would prevent you from tampering with this. You couldn't just guess someone else's, event name, which is relatively easy to guess, so to speak. But you wouldn't be able to do that without the signature, which means you could only get in if you somehow became the owner or the coordinator, as we're calling it, for that event. So I think this is good enough. I don't think we need to add anything else. So let's just nah that out, and let's go back to our scratch pad. Scratch pad. Okay, cool. So I think tomorrow what we'll focus on is taking that signed URL, clicking it, getting to it in the browser, and having some kind of controller that, or single action controller or whatever, that effectively lands you on a form, and then you have to put in your name, and it's got to match, one of the things on the attendee for that event in the signed URL. And if so, then it's going to put something in the session that allows you to upload photos for that event. And that's all you can do. You can only upload photos. So again, getting in here, you're not getting access to much. It's not like you're seeing any kind of information about the owner of the event or anything like that. You just land on like a special photo upload page. It might even be a separate photo upload page, to be honest. So, yeah. I think that's what we'll build tomorrow, and I think at that point, minus the ugliness of some of these sections, and of course some additional security to not be able to look at events and so forth, this would work from a demo perspective. So I think it's pretty good. So I think tonight I'll try to clean up some of these forms that I hacked together pretty quickly, these dashboards and so forth, and then tomorrow we'll work on a similar form to be able, again, to sign in as an attendee using that URL. So I think that's pretty good for today. So, all right. Well, thanks everyone for joining live. We'll get started promptly at 9:15 tomorrow, and I'll see you then.